Hello, my absolutely delicious little cherubs. It's raining here on Exmoor today in biblical proportions. I'm honestly expecting Noah to just wander down my vertical garden with a load of animals any minute now, and I live opposite the sea, so he can park the ark. That rhymed. I'm a poet and I don't know it. Anyway, what I want to share with you today, my darlings, is that I have been literally inundated, flooded, like Noah, but in an email sense, with so many parents, desperate parents, whose kids have really spiked during this recent transition period, but also not only adapting to that, but having to do mocks, having to do exams, assessments. And I get it, I really get it. So much education has been missed, and the teachers need to know where the kids are at, what they need to fill in, the gaps in learning, etc. But honestly, I couldn't think of a worse time to make kids do exams, and they have really suffered, and I've picked up the tail end of that all week, and actually even all day Saturday and Sunday my phone didn't stop, and I really feel for you all. So I thought I've got to take these matters in hand, really, because it's really important. I mean, just pre-COVID, 1 in 54 kids in the UK are diagnosed with ASDs. They're somewhere on the autism spectrum, they're autistic. You know, 14% of our children aged 3 to 17 are diagnosed with ADHD or ADD, attention deficit disorder, and 3/4 of those will take those symptoms into adulthood. Autism is something you live with all your life, and whilst it presents challenges, as you know, I've said so many times, there are so many gifts, so many ways of thinking outside of the box, and it does, I promise you, once you get out of mainstream, it becomes so much easier as you get older. I promise you, it really does. I know this from my own son personally, as some of you might know from a lot of the talks that I do. So anything is possible. But in the meantime, how do we get through today? Hopes and dreams are all very well, and don't let go of those, because they're building blocks of resilience, and that's what we all need during these times, regardless of what our label is. But so I thought I'd come up with a few ideas that you can use in an emergency, just very discreetly. You can use them yourselves, so it's very self-empowering, leads you to that all-important self-awareness. When you feel things building, you can take your own mental health in hand, which is immensely empowering, and ultimately learn to self-manage, self-regulate. If you're a therapist and you're qualified in touch therapy, I honestly don't mind if you use this in your sessions, your Zoom sessions, your face-to-face sessions. Touch is a little bit tricky at the moment, but you can get the kids to mirror you. Don't forget, it's all about empowering them anyway. You don't want to be another adult just doing things for them, as lovely as it is to be touched. You know, it's all about empowering these kids, getting them through in a discreet, immediate way. So the first thing I want to show you, well, let me talk about oils first. You can do it with oils or without. You can do it, I normally just use hand cream, because the kids don't want to look like basted chickens by the time I've finished with them, sent back into class looking like they're about to be barbecued and honey glazed. We don't want that. They won't like it, and a lot of them don't like their hair being messed up either. Having said that, hand cream, they get without a smell, is really lovely. If you just add a drop of vetiver oil, is really good for bringing that energy right down. Lavender high alpine, brilliant, because it relaxes everything. Don't forget, essential oils cross that blood-brain barrier. So a lavender high altitude I particularly like. I had one girl once who I worked with, and she could actually be a little bit of a rebel. Oh God, I loved her. I still do. And she used to call it lavender high attitude. So I have to watch myself, because very often if I'm sharing aromatherapy with people, I accidentally call it lavender high attitude. And I never corrected her, because I just thought it was so brilliant. So don't use lavender on anybody who's even had so much as one epileptic fit, however, because it can trigger a fit. So that's really important to know. Chamomile is a wonderful one that you can use. It's extremely relaxing, helps with sleep, it's grounding. However, if it's in a classroom situation, they've got a little bottle in their pocket if they're allowed to sneak it in, or you could put it on their hands before they go to school. Blue tansy is really good, because that's when you feel stuck and frustrated and just about ready to explode and have that meltdown, Blue Tansy works. Honestly, it's fantastic. Try it out. And you can get these, they don't always have to be really expensive. So the first thing I want to show you is the first pressure point is literally the middle of your chest, right in the middle of your chest. And some of you might have a little dip there. I do, I can fit my thumb in it. And I don't know why, but ever since I was a child, I've always called it the angel thumbprint. That's not in A&P, by the way, anatomy and physiology, it's just what I call it. But you can literally just press there, and you can do that quite discreetly at your desk. Just press there. If you're in an exam, press there and rub. If you're in a business meeting, I do it if I'm about to give talks. I do loads and loads of talks to advocate for these fantastic kids. And I get really nervous, and I keep in my mind, this isn't about you, Juliana, this is about the kids, but it's still really scary when you're facing a room with 400 people in it. So I will just kind of just do this a little bit before I go in. So that's a really, really, really good one. And I've got vetiver on my hands today because my energy levels are always pretty high. So, and I've got a lot to do, so I need to be good. And God, it's so hard when you've got this mind zooming off in a million directions like mine. Anyway, the other place you could do is just below your tummy button. So like my tummy button's there. So you go like 2 spaces below and you just press that, or you can rotate. If you rotate, it's even better because what you're doing is you're working on that all-important gut, the second brain, the enteric brain that houses 90% of our serotonin, as I'm forever saying, and also dopamine, that neurotransmitter that kids with ADHD are really, really lacking, and many on the autism spectrum too. So if you just press and release or massage it, you are massaging the gut, you're massaging that second brain, and you're pushing that dopamine up that vagus nerve, which carries it to the brain. It's called the gut-brain axis. I've talked about it loads, so I don't want to give you a science lecture because you'll want to kill me. I'll want to kill me. I do get ever so nerdy. The other place you could do it is if you go kind of like 2 fingers just before the crown. You never massage the crown. I never, ever, ever massage the crown on anybody, just because in traditional Chinese medicine, it's the meeting of 100 pathways, and you could send somebody into massive overload. So particularly when you're working with kids with different abilities, disabilities, challenges, ADHD, you know, whatever it is, I don't massage anybody who comes into me and tells me that they're neurotypical and have no health issues, because they could be depressed, but they're so used to being depressed, they don't know they're depressed. So I go just in front, and just with my fingertips, you literally just massage. And again, a child could look at a teacher and just gently do that on their heads. They're still focusing, they're still concentrating. And what this one does, it's a still point. So it does what it says on the tin. It brings the body to stillness. It lowers heart rate, blood pressure, helps with that focus and concentration. The other one you can do is the bridge of the nose. And you've probably quite often seen people do this at work or school or wherever. I tend to do it a lot because I have to make lists everywhere. And if I lost my lists, I have to do this because this is the magic bit. It's a concentration point. Isn't that amazing how we do it without even realizing what we're doing? We're so in tune still. So you just pinch that and release. And that floods the brain with focus, concentration, and attention. Helps with memory as well, which is why we do it. We think, oh God, what was that again? You've stood for 10 minutes in front of the fridge thinking, oh God, what was that again? Then you realise you were looking for your slippers or something and they'd never have been in the fridge anyway. So it all helps, you know. So then you can also do just below the nose here. Just middle finger pressure. I'm not going to tuck my other fingers in because it's going to look like I'm doing something really sweary and horrid to you. And you can either just press and release or rotate backwards and forwards. And this is a really good one because it clears, I can feel it, it clears and energizes the brain. I can actually feel it as I'm doing it. I close my eyes generally, but don't do that if you're in school because the teacher you might draw attention to yourself and get in trouble. But you could just do that and just hope no one thinks you're picking your nose. But it's quite obvious my finger's not in my nose, so you should be all right. If not, do it at home or in a private place, or just lean down and do it over your book. So that clears and energizes the brain. These are all things at your immediate disposal. So then we have, the last one is on the ears, and it's called Shen Men. It's an acupressure point. It's also known as the Heavenly Gate. It's like the angel thumbprint. We've got the Heavenly Gate. I love it, you know, I love it. And that in your ear is just where that helix begins ascending, and you do it both sides. And again, you can either massage or you can just press and release if you're not so keen on touch. Just press and release, and do the other side. And this brings you immediate calm. Immediate calm. It's an absolute winner. Definitely up there on my 999 list. So I really hope these things are helpful. You know, if you don't like oils, you can do what's called a dry massage. You don't need any oils whatsoever to do this. Touch is free. You can just do it. You can self-administer it. It's not going to harm you, and it works perfectly alongside any allopathic medication that you're taking. It's not my place to talk you out of that. That's absolutely your decision. I would never be so arrogant, but it works beautifully alongside, you know, any GP advice, anything you're doing with your GP. I work alongside doctors all the time. You know, we often, I send notes across. So, and what I do is very, very grounded in neuroscience. I've spent years researching this. So all of this you can use without any harm to any other advice you're taking or anything you're putting into your bodies. So on that note, have a calm and happy week. I'm going to go in and make a sandwich for Noah, just in case he does appear. He might need a flipping big baguette at this rate. I mean, it's honestly, it's raining stair rods. I've got to go do my sun dance. You know, it's not funny. So have a beautiful week, everybody. Remember your 999 techniques. They're so simple. You do not need to be a qualified masseur to do this for yourselves. They are handy tips, you know, so use them, they work. Have a gorgeous week, and I will see you next week, my darlings. Oh, by the way, the bit I always forget to say, I got told off again for it last week. If you like my videos, would you mind pressing the little thumb, the little like, give me a like. I would just love you so much if you could do that. And even better if you could subscribe. I often get about 900 views a week, but I think I've got about 250 something subscribers. So I'm hardly a YouTuber, but lots of people are tuning in. So if you like what I do, please subscribe, pass it on. I'm not in this for the money. I don't get paid for this stuff. I'm doing it with all my heart to share with all of you during these challenging times. So if you could do that, that would be amazing. And if you want a follow-up with a little bit more information and some actual pictures of where these points are to massage, if you log on to annakennedyonline.com, I'm her wellbeing charity ambassador, a slightly insane one, but I know my stuff. And mind you, I'm always learning as well. So log on to her, onto her website, and I'm under the Take 5 mental health campaign, and the full article will be there if you want to know any more. All of it is freely downloadable. So, you know, everything I share freely. So have a great week, and hopefully we will get our summer back. I hope it's gorgeous where you are, and I'll see you next week. Take care, my delicious darling.